Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel Blue Lady Couture. In this video I'm going to be sewing some pieces for my summer holiday wardrobe, and afterwards it'll just be for my wardrobe in general because I am desperately in need of a pair of trousers, a new pair of trousers. My current favourite pair I have basically worn to death and I cannot get replacement for them. I've had them several years. Yes, they're not available to purchase new anymore, and I've not found anything generally available kind of similar that I really like, because I absolutely love the fit of these trousers. So I figured, being a dressmaker, let's make some. So what I'm going to do is basically take the pattern from my favourite pair of trousers, because they're at a point now where they're not really wearable anymore. You know, I have trashed them. I've worn them so much. They are basically on the verge of falling to bits. So yeah, so I'm going to take the pattern from them and then use that to make some new pairs of trousers for my holidays and say future wardrobe. So yeah, so that is the plan for today. Because I think this is the case for a lot of women, finding the perfect pair of trousers that fit you, and also if you're a sewer, I think making the perfect pair of trousers is not easy either. It can take a lot of work to just perfect the pattern to be just right for you, and I'll be honest, trousers isn't something, especially tailored trousers, is not really somewhere that I've done a lot with. I mean, I can do trousers, but I would prefer not to. So yeah, so if I can take a pattern from a pair that actually already really fits me really well, you know, in theory, there should be minimal alterations that need doing. And obviously once I've got the pattern, it should be fairly easy just to replicate, you know, quite quickly. I think that's the thing. Trousers aren't too bad to actually sew together, but it's the fitting of them that is the issue. Wish I'd bought, you know, multiple pairs of these at the time. But yeah, but this is them, this famed pair of trousers. And you may have possibly seen me wearing these in some of my videos from time to time, because I love them so much. So they are by a brand called Band Apparel, mini brand within them. Their sort of range was called Dancing Days. So they're designed to be kind of 1940s kind of swing pants. So they're lovely, you know, straight-legged, wide-legged trousers with turn-ups at the bottom, and they're beautifully high-waisted, and I just find them so flattering on me these days. Low-waisted, you know, hipster type trousers and jeans, I just, not anymore. Not anymore, I'm afraid not. So yeah, I like a nice classic pair of high-waisted trousers that actually sits up on the natural waist, and I just find that so much more flattering. They've also got really nice pocket details in them as well, which again kind of helps add to that slimming effect by kind of drawing the eye into the waist. And then they've got this cute little bow detail on the front waist as well, which again just kind of hides in a little bit of the tummy area and also just makes that nice feature focal point right on the tummy area, which kind of seems like it should be counterintuitive, but for some reason it works, and I just love how these look on me. At the back they're nipped in at the waist with darts, and you can actually see where I had to take these in actually quite a bit when I got them originally. So yes, they've got a really nice darted fit on the back. Let me see, the stitching is coming apart there. I said I've worn these to death. And then they have this lovely little feature on the back as well, with these little button tabs, and essentially it's just the waistband kind of turned with a fishtail point on the back, and it's just basically turned down and two little buttons put on, and it just makes a lovely little focal point feature on the back of the waist as well. Just yeah, they're just really nice. But I don't know how well it's going to show on camera, but you can perhaps see how faded these are now. They've been washed that many times that yeah, they're no longer, they used to be. I wonder if I can find, if I I mean, even this is probably not the original colour, but underneath the bow in there, they were originally this beautiful dark tealy green colour. Yeah, so unfortunately these are probably coming to the end of their life. I mean, they've not done bad, you know, for kind of a high street brand pair of trousers. They've lasted really well. I've had these certainly since before the pandemic, so probably going about 2017, 2018, that sort of time. So they're not done bad. They've not done bad. They don't owe me anything. And like I say, if I can get a pattern off them, so much the better. So that's the plan. So my plan was obviously to try and replicate these, so I wanted to try and find a fabric as similar to these as possible. It doesn't have to be the same colour, but you know, these are a really nice soft, I think it's a polyviscose drill, but I've washed them so much that you can't read the label in them anymore. So I don't know. I think they're going to be, could have a cotton element in them, but they're definitely a viscose kind of drill. So a drill means it has that slightly diagonal weave to them. Yeah, they just drape really nicely, and because they've obviously got the viscose content in it as well, again, just adds that nice comfy drapeability. And viscose, although it's a man-made fibre, it is made from plant-based cells, so it's actually quite breathable and comfortable to wear, unlike, like I say, a polyester or something like that. So yeah, so I've been on the lookout for a fabric similar to that, and this is what I have found. Now I've actually got a couple of fabrics here that I'm going to show, well, 3 fabrics actually that I'm going to show you, but this is the main one. So this is a polyviscose drill. It's lovely and soft and drapey, so I think it will be it's a good sort of comparative weight. It's perhaps a slightly bit more heavier than this one, but I think it's workable. It's also got a little bit of stretch to it, which I'm hoping won't be problematic, but again, that should just help with kind of the ease and the fitting, and again the drapeability of it as well. So yeah, so this is in this lovely colour called Peacock. This fabric, which is a linen viscose blend, so this is a bit more crisp than the polyviscose drill. This is more a traditional just straight weave. What do they call that? I can't remember what they call it. Just I'm rubbish with different weave types sometimes, so I know that that's a twill weave. Yeah, this is just more a classic, you know, one under, one over each way. I don't know what to mean. I know what I mean. But yes, this is a little bit more crisper. I am worried it might crease a little bit more, but you know, for a nice lightweight pair of summer trousers, you know, in a linen viscose, you can't really go wrong, you know. And if you get a bit of creasing on the trousers, nah. I'm not too worried, but yeah, it'll be interesting to just see how it comes out. It might not be too bad, but that's on. So that's 2 pairs hopefully, and then finally I have this fabric, which this is from my stash, because I would have liked to have used, you know, from my stash completely, but I just didn't have anything in enough quantity that really matched what I was looking for. So yeah, so I had to buy some new fabric, kind of for the final pieces, but this I thought would make a very good wearable mock-up of the trousers. So before I cut into the more expensive new fabrics, I thought if I can use a fabric from my stash that will be, you know, workable and wearable, obviously that will save me either, you know, using a load of calico and get a wearable item out of it as well, then, you know, so much the better. So yeah, so this is, I think this is a linen cotton blend. It has a slight kind of stripe effect to it, and it's obviously in this nice dark blue. It's quite lightweight. It's lighter weight than the other linen viscose blend. So again, it should be another lovely, nice summer weight fabric. But I think it's got enough structure to it that it will still work for a kind of a sort of semi-tailored pair of trousers. So yeah, so I've had this in my stash for years. Did pay a lot for it. It was a 3 meter kind of piece that I bought from a shop somewhere. So I like the weave. I thought that would be nice for something eventually, and it's sat in my stash here for many years, as is wont to happen with fabric stashes. But here we are. You never know. Yes, you never know when you might need that perfect piece of fabric for a project. So the original pair of trousers fasten with a side zipper, an invisible zipper. I plan to do the same with my new pair of trousers. I don't use zips very often. You know, obviously they're a much more 20th century think, although they were invented, I believe, in the 1870s, they just didn't really become kind of mainstream in fashion until the sort of the 1930s. So yes, I don't make with zips very often, although I have done, and obviously I can use them. Yeah, so I ordered some zips at the time that I ordered the fabric from the same supplier. This is what turned up. I thought, looking at the pictures on the website, these were close enough colours. Yeah, no, just no. So we got rid of those. They'll be going in my zip stash, which will probably never get used for 20 years. And then last weekend I nipped out to kind of our local kind of general store, which has a fairly good haberdashery and sewing department, to see if they had anything more appropriate. Paper receipts. And I picked up these, which I think you can see are much better colours, although unfortunately they didn't have any concealed zips or invisible zips in these colours, which is slightly annoying. So I've had to buy traditional zips, and I will have to lap the closure over them to hide the zip a little bit more, which not really ideal, but you know, it will do. So basically create a placket within the seam allowance that will overlap and hide most of the zipper from being on display. But luckily these colours now look, I mean, they probably won't look as good on camera, but yeah, in real life these are a lot closer in colour to the fabrics. So yeah, obviously that one is the best match, because trust me, to pick awkward colours that are, you know, not perfectly navy or perfectly, you know, teal or green, you know, green, they're kind of in between shades. So yes, I've got the closest zips that I can get, that hopefully they will be fine. So yeah, nothing more is left except to start taking the pattern from these original trousers. I could completely take them apart, I guess, if I wanted to, but that will take a load of time to unpick. So the final kind of thing that I need to just add on to the regular trouser pattern is the measurement for the turn-ups, because that adds quite a bit onto the actual length of the pattern piece. I think what I'm probably going to do is not do turn-ups on the mock-up, the wearable mock-up, just so that, one, it just saves up a little bit of extra fabric, and just makes it a bit quicker to finish off, and also it makes the design a little bit different as well if they don't have turn-ups on them as well. So yes, I think I'm just going to do a standard hem on them. But yeah, as you can see, there's quite a bit of additional length on here. So this line here is obviously the current hem length, so that's the bottom of the trousers. Yeah, so it has to fold up, then fold back down, and then underneath, it's obviously folded over everywhere. So yeah, folds up, folds back down, and then it has to fold back under to create obviously the internal hidden, the hem facing on the inside there. So that is roughly another 8.5 8.5 inches additional length on there. You can see why they banned turn-ups in during rationing in World War II, because yeah, that's an awful lot of extra fabric. Okay, so I've got the pattern pieces all cut out now. There's not very many of them. So we've got the front trouser piece, back trouser piece, and then we've got the two the pocket pieces here as well. So I'm going to start cutting out the mock-up fabric. I'm a little bit unsure whether the angle has kind of got a bit stretched out kind of on the waistline here. I'm not sure whether that might need tweaking. It seems a little bit distorted and kind of too sharp angle sort of this way. But that's why we're going to do a mock-up and obviously make sure that's all okay, and if necessary I can make any adjustments on the waistline once I'm wearing it. So yeah, that's the next stage. So I'll keep this piece aside because that's going to be just perfect for doing waistband, and that'll be quite a nice feature actually because the stripe is running obviously down the length of the fabric. But if I make that into the waistband, that'll then obviously run horizontally around my waist, so that might be quite a nice contrast to play with the pattern a little bit. Okay, so the darts are in the main trouser panel. This is the pocket edge here, and you might be able to see I've just stay stitched it. This fabric is kind of might just stretch a little bit on curves and on the bias, so yeah, I've just popped a stay stitch in there which will hopefully stop it warping out of shape too much. And then I've also done the same on the pocket pieces, which you can now see are together. And I've stay stitched around the curve of the pocket edge there, overlocked and stitched the other edges of the pocket, which will be obviously on the inside of the trousers. So now we are basically going to line these up like so, although not, that's the wrong way around, but for the purposes of demonstration, yeah, I need to line these up the right way around and stitch down this line here, and then obviously I can turn it through and then can top stitch that pocket line in place. I also have to snip that as well to get that to fold around the curve the opposite way to where it's been cut. So let's get this the right way around because that would be helpful, wouldn't it? Oh, brain. Right, so it's going to go on like that. So this is how the inside will lay. So we've got the inside of the wrong side of the trouser panel here with the dart. That will lay on top like that. So I can then finish off that side seam. But obviously to get this raw edge to go the other way, I need to flip this way, and then once it's stitched it will flip back the other way and be in the right place in theory, if I can get my right sides and my wrong sides right. Okay, so I just thought I'd quickly show you how the pockets have come together. You can see they are in situ there, although I do feel they're not as deep as the ones on my original trousers, but I guess it could be just deceptive once I actually get them on. I will own that I did make a slight error on what way around the pockets were. So yeah, they ended up being basically cut the wrong ones for the wrong side, because the side where I've putting the zip in, if you remember I said because I didn't have an invisible zip I need to kind of create a placket to cover the zip a bit more, so I've cut a little bit more room on one side than the other. And yes, it means all the side seam edges are just a fraction wider, so they will only fit one way or the other, and yeah, basically I muddled myself up. And yeah, I mean, it's not a problem. Luckily, this fabric is okay on both sides. It's the same on both sides, so it's no real drama, other than I've had to fold the overlocking to the inside of the pocket rather than being completely flat. So it's a little bit bulky in a couple of places, but this is just going to be, I say, a mock-up, so you know, it's not the end of the world. So now I'm going to carry on with the overlocking. So I need to overlock the side seams and the trouser seams. Then I can start putting the actual trouser pieces together, and then I will overlock the crotch seam once that's all attached. So I decided that it's probably going to be sensible to put the zip in the side seam before I attach the two parts of the trousers together, and I have to fight to get this nice and straight and even with the crotch seam joined up and all the rest of it. So yeah, I thought while the trousers are still in two halves and I can still lay this nice and flat, I thought I would put the zip in now, and I'm hoping I won't need to do too much tweaking on the side seams, and if I need to take it in at all, I'll be able to do it either on the darts or in the perhaps the centre back seam if necessary. And as you can see, I've put it in on one side, and on this side you can see I've pressed the seam allowance over, and you might obviously see that that's a bigger than average seam allowance, because that is, as I explained earlier, so I can create basically a placket to hide the zip more or less once it's done up. And then when I lay this against there, it mostly hides the teeth of the zip. I'm not too worried about here where the waist is sitting slightly out, because this is where, when I said I'm going to cut the pattern, I felt like the swoop up towards the side of the waist was a bit distorted, but if I think I'm just going to be able to trim that off from the pocket point there to the side seam point on the back panel there, and that's just going to make a nice smooth shaping on the waistline. Okay, so I've had a first try on of my trousers and I'm actually really pleased with them. They come out really well. It's like a couple of little things here and there that I'm okay with on this wearable mock-up, but I will probably tweak on the next pair of trousers that I do. One of which is that for some reason the waistband, it's kind of hard to show you because of the the depth of it, because I've got my counting table here. But you know, the waistband on them at the front, it appears to be just dipping, and if I pull them up so that the waistline is horizontal, it's pulling the crotch too tight. So I'm not quite sure why that would have gone astray, because obviously I've made sure to, you know, mark out the crotch seam to be the same as my original pair of trousers. So going forward on future pairs of trousers, I am probably going to just raise that front crotch seam just a smidge at the centre front, and then obviously taper it out so it evens up the waistline all around. But for this pair of trousers, I've decided that when I put the waistband on, originally I was just going to put a simple horizontal band on, but what I'm going to do is just do a slightly dipped waistband at the front, so that will then hopefully ensure that the waistband is even on the very top, but it will just help follow the line of where the actual sort of the trouser panels are sitting at the lower point of the waistband. So yeah, so I'm hoping that will solve that issue. And other than that, there's not really much else to do on them. But I'll come in. I'll do a final fit once I've got them together, because at the moment it's a bit awkward to do fitting in them because they're kind of, yeah, obviously they're not finished, so they're not sitting quite right, and I don't want to film that. So yeah, I'm just gonna carry on and get these finished, get them hemmed, and then I will show you where I'm at with them. Really pleased with them. Whereas I haven't got proper studio lighting down here, so I'm sorry if it's a bit dark. Yeah, I'm really pleased with how they've come out. And I think you can see what I meant about the waistband. Yeah, so I think just adding that slightly dipped waistband was a really good idea, and that has really just helped smooth those out. I think the only other thing I kind of dislike is, I feel like the pockets are a bit short. So I think I'm probably going to add at least an inch onto the bottom of the pockets when I make these again. So they're not bad by any means, but you know, just a little bit more depth, just so I can make sure if I've got like my phone in my pocket or something like that, I like to make sure it's well in up in my pocket and it's not going to fall out. I'm also very pleased with how the zip little placket turned out as well. Again, I'm sorry if it's a bit dark and you probably can't see that very well. But yeah, that's looking really nice. Just pulling a little bit there, but I kind of expect because that thick point where the pocket joins, so there's quite a lot of fabric in that point there. Yeah, so for saying that I ended up having to use non-invisible zips, that's worked out really nicely. So that's always good to remember. If you can't get an invisible zip in the right colour, the right length, or you know, whatever, you can get away with using a regular zip if you put a little placket over it like that. So as you'll have just seen, I've started work on the second pair of trousers, and I'm just doing the slight differences that I mentioned and kind of at the end of the last section, where I'm adding a little bit onto the centre front of the waistband, and obviously I need to add that onto the pocket pieces as well, and I've lengthened the pocket pieces just a little bit in the kind of towards the front of the pocket, so it dips down a bit more at the front, so it makes it a little bit deeper. Horrible little staple things. Okay, so I've put the side zip in the same method that I used yesterday with the other trousers. I'm gonna say I'm not as happy with this today. It's okay, and it'll probably be fine, you know, probably not even that noticeable once you're wearing it, but it's just not quite as clean, and I am going to blame that on the fabric because it's got this slight stretch to it, so I have ended up having to just go over this a couple of times and then unpick the stitching line, just because it was kind of, it just wouldn't sit flat, and it was just like walking across, so yeah, because of the stretch. A bit more of a challenging fabric to work with, and one of the reasons I don't like working with stretch fabric. I avoid it at all costs normally if I can, but yeah, it's not too bad. We'll see once the waistband is on and I'm wearing it whether it behaves itself and lays flat. Another problem I'm noticing with this fabric is I have to be very careful when I'm ironing it, especially on the, oh my god, that weather. That's just, oh, look at this. This is horrible. This is our summer. This is disgusting. It's been like this for months. With like the odd little bit of just want some nice sunshine and sunny weather. Oh, right, where was I? Yeah, before I was interrupted by the rain. Yeah, I just had to be really careful with pressing this fabric. It scorches really easily, even on like a really low temperature. It's marking, especially on the right side of the fabric. So I was pressing one of the first things I did was obviously like press the darts in the front panels. And yeah, yeah, hopefully I've caught it before it kind of was too extreme, but yeah, so that's slightly annoying. So I just need to make sure that I always press these inside out, and after, you know, ironing, after washing and things like that. But it's also making it very hard to press them well because I can't get the temperature high enough to, yeah, so I'm probably going to have to do a damp press on them at some point, just to really set the seams and things like that. But otherwise, going okay, and mostly quicker than obviously my previous mock-up pair, because I kind of know what I'm doing now, and I kind of the order and process of things, so things are kind of, yeah, other than it being a bit of a pain, things are going much quicker. Okay, so I've just top stitched the waistband on. I'm just going to press it now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to try pressing it with a damp pressing cloth, just so I can get the temperature up a little bit more, in the hopes that that's just going to set this fabric a little bit more sharply, without obviously damaging or marking the fabric itself. And to be honest, I think I'm going to have to do that with the turn-ups on the hems, because I'm slightly concerned that this fabric has got so much kind of spring to it with its stretchiness that the turn-ups aren't going to hold very well. So yeah, I'm hoping a nice damp press with a damp pressing cloth will do the trick and just set everything a bit more sharply. I'm going to do it on the back of the waistband, just to make sure if it does mark the fabric, it's obviously not going to show, hopefully, on the outside. So yeah, so I've just rinsed this. It's just a piece of white cotton, kind of scrap fabric that I just keep aside for this very purpose. And so I've just rinsed it under the cold tap and wrung it out, so it's not sopping wet, but it's just damp enough to the touch that it should hopefully just... Yeah, straight away you can see that's a lot better. You can see the springiness here of the fabric on this side compared to where I've pressed it here. If you can hear any noises in the background, that's Mr. BLC is working on his latest cosplay, which involves kind of drills and dremels, and yeah, he's making armour pieces for a Fallout cosplay, so not my remit. Armouring is Mr. BLC's remit. I do soft fabric. Oh yeah, that's much better. And then what I can do is I can press, so these are the little decorative tabs from the back waistband, which is going to fold down, and they're going to have the buttons on, just to make that nice decorative feature. So yeah, they need a nice sharp press as well. So the last biggest job to do on the trousers is to create the little ribbon decorative detail which sits on the front of the waistband. These are the pieces from the original trousers. Basically I've taken them apart into their 3 component parts, and I'm just going to trace around them to create the pattern that I need, and then yeah, cut them out of the new trouser fabric. So essentially they go like this, and then this is the little the loop that holds them all together. So both those pieces feed through that loop, and that is essentially what creates the bow. It's so simple, just with a little bit of shaping on that bottom tail piece. But yeah, that's all it is. It's basically just a series of rectangles and this curved kind of piece to create the tails, and that's all it is. So yeah. So here's a quick first try on look reveal for you guys, just to see how trousers have come together. And I have to say I am rather pleased. I will say the zip is perhaps not quite perfect, and I think that is to do with the stretch that's in this fabric. And there's a couple of little things like here where the stretch in the fabric is just, it's kind of just rolling the pockets over. I did top stitch over these in the end just to secure them a little bit more, but it's still pulling just a little bit, but yeah, otherwise I'm not too worried about it. So I hope you enjoyed this little video showing the making of some new trousers for my summer wardrobe. I've decided not to film the making of the third pair in the other blue fabric that I was going to do. I think you've probably seen enough footage of me making trousers that you don't need to see me filming the third pair. So yeah, so I'm going to leave it here for now. But however, I do hope you will join me for my little reveal, showing the outfits that I've styled with these trousers while I'm on holiday. And yeah, because I'm so pleased with how the wearable mock-up turned out, that yeah, I'm perfectly happy that I'm going to be taking those on holiday with me, and will show you some outfits that I put together. Yeah, obviously aside from the project just going really well and giving me 2 new pairs of trousers, I now have the pattern that I can make more of these trousers and obviously adjust the styling and things slightly to suit me as as I please. So I will get around to making the third pair of trousers at some point, just not perhaps immediately. Yeah, and it's just so nice to have some some good basic pieces in my wardrobe, and obviously my wardrobe kind of leans on a kind of a more historical, vintagey kind of side anyway. So to have some nice key trousers that I can wear that fit in that aesthetic is just really great, and I'm just so pleased that I'm going to be able to carry on wearing my favourite style of trousers and not have to worry about finding a new pair in the shops or online or somewhere like that. And the original pair can now be relegated to mucking about in the garden and and doing jobs around the house and stuff like that, because I have some nice new pairs to wear. It's all good. So yeah, If you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below, that all really helps my channel out, and don't forget you can subscribe to my channel so you can be notified when my next video goes out. Yes, I do sewing videos like this, costume making videos. I also go out to costuming kind of events and festivals, and I also visit places of historical interest, especially if they've got a kind of a literary or a costume drama film kind of association as well. So yeah, so do go and check my channel out, and yeah, subscribe if you want to hear more from me. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and please go and enjoy the reveal of some of my little clips from when I was on holiday. Take care everyone, bye!